All right, welcome to the Shepherd's Crook. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Today, we're going to talk about how to get into hunting. A lot of people talk about the barrier of entry of hunting, the hunting world being really, really high and really, really expensive. And what I want to do today is dispel a lot of those myths and show you how you can get into hunting relatively easy. But first, we're going to pray and ask for the Lord's help, and then I'm going to throw out just a few things here. I'm going to go over 2 guns that I have and then 1 bow that I have and tell you the process to get into hunting. If you've never hunted before, you just have the desire to be a provider for your household, or you're a young guy that's thinking about getting into hunting. Maybe you're an older guy that's never done that before in your life and you just wonder, how do I get into this? Then this is the video for you, and you're in luck. I didn't start hunting until I was 35. And the last few years, it's kind of like it's a light bulb's gone off, and I've been wondering, where's this been my whole life? And have really loved getting into this. And so I know a lot of you guys grew up in hunting households and have been doing it for your whole life and decades on end. That's just not the case with me. So for many of you that didn't grow up in a house that was a hunting house like I did, this might be interesting for you as well. So let's go ahead and pray and ask for the Lord's help, and then we'll dive right in. Father, we just thank you so much for this time. I ask for blessing on this video. I pray it would help and encourage men as they're thinking through how to be better providers in their home. And God, we know that provision is a really broad thing, and hunting can be a small piece of that. And you don't have to be a hunter to be a provider. But there's just so much joy that I've received from this, and I pray that if somebody watches this, gets into hunting, and enjoys it, God, I pray that they would give you glory and honor for that. I just thank you so much for the time that I've had doing this, and I pray this would be helpful for people. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. Boy, I would love to get into hunting, but I don't know where to start. How do I start? Where do I go to find out information? And like I said, this is the video for you. I've heard people say, you know, you've got to have thousands of dollars and you got to do these big trips if you want to get into hunting. And it's just not true. It's just a lie. And so here are the basics. You can really get into hunting for $1,000 or less and get every single gun that you need, or a bow, which is not necessarily a need, but if you want to do bow hunting as well, which I'll show you here in a minute, you can really get into this for fairly cheap and get all the gear you need within a year. And say you don't have money in your bank account, I hope you do, to just go out and buy all that you need to get started, or buy what I'm going to talk about here today to get started. Well, you can do what I did a few years ago. I wanted to get into this, and so I just said at Christmas time, hey, here's what I want. Here's a list of things that I want, or here's some money that I want. And as I'm buying gifts for other people that they want, you know, typically what you end up doing is, if you lay out for the people in your life that care and love for you, here's what I would like to get so I can get into this really productive activity, this really productive hobby that's going to end up being a benefit to our family and our family beyond just our immediate household. Then people are like, yeah, sure, here you go. And really over a year to year and a half, I collected everything I need to hunt any kind of game in North America. I can take down a moose all the way down to a squirrel with what I'm going to show you here today. And really, I'm in the process of collecting more and more hunts and getting more and more game in my refrigerator and in my freezer for our family. But I'll tell you about my hunts that are pretty exciting here in just a little bit. But first, how in the world do you get into hunting? Say you have nothing. You have no familiarity whatsoever with firearms. I did have some familiarity with firearms before I got into hunting. But let's just say you don't know anything at all about hunting. The first thing you need to do, the first thing that you have to do, and this is across the board before you can get any hunting license, or even, really, I think you can get some fishing. You don't have to have this for fishing license. But to get a hunting license in any state, you have to have your hunter safety course. It's standard across the board in all 50 states. From what I understand, you have to get online and go to just do some Google searching and find your county, wherever your county. This happens all over the state, all over every state, even in states like mine, Illinois, and you find your information for your hunter safety course. For us, it's free if you just show up and do the course. Some states will require you to come back and do a field day where you go in the field and you actually shoot a firearm. In the state of Illinois, you don't actually have to do that. You just have to go to your hunter safety course over a Saturday. I think it was a 2-day course, and that's a once-in-a-lifetime course, and you're good to go from there, and you can get all that you need to get for your hunting licenses after that. But you have to start with a hunter safety course. So there's your number 1 step. Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever you do to find out where you can do your hunter safety course. That's your first step. After that, you're going to need to get some sort of mentor. You want to get a mentor, somebody that's been around firearms of all sorts for decades, that can show you the ropes. If you go to church somewhere, most likely there's somebody in your church that can show you how to handle a gun and any kind of weapon in between. And you just need to start getting familiar with guns. I mean, guns are a phenomenal way to protect your family, obviously, and it's a gift of God's common grace to be able to protect your family, but also to go out and hunt. So just be familiar with firearms. You want to go ahead and start training and shooting, and go to a course or somebody's property that has a course or a shooting range at their house We have some friends that have shooting ranges at their house, and we're just able to go and shoot there, or I can go to a shooting range that's nearby and just be familiar with the guns you're going to be shooting. Now, we are already kind of jumping ahead because we're talking about guns and as if you already have guns. Okay, so let's actually go through this. I want to show you 2 guns that I have, and then I want to show you these are 2 of, I don't know how, I've got several guns, but these 2 guns, these 2 firearms will take down any game in America. And this is just a suggestion. You don't have to get these guns, but this will get your wheels turning a little bit. And I just want to show you what I did. So I asked for Christmas for a 12-gauge shotgun, and this is a Mossberg 500. Now, Mossberg is a trusted gun manufacturer, and their guns are, well respected, and their price point is really good. They're a cheap middle-of-the-road gun. They're not a cheap gun, but they're a middle-of-the-road gun. And I think it's been a great gun for me. And I actually learned about hunting and firearms from a buddy of mine at our church in his 60s, and he had a 20-gauge Mossberg 500 and said, "Here, just get this, and you'll be good to go." I went ahead and opted for the 12-gauge, and I want to show you how this works and why it's such a great gun. So you always, when you're handling a firearm, you want to make sure that it's empty, it's not loaded. You can see that it's not loaded. There's nobody in here right now. I'm not going to be firing or anything like that, but you always want to make sure and check that the firearm is unloaded. So now this gun is unloaded for me, and this gun is a gun that I actually, in the state of Illinois, I actually hunt deer with this gun. This is a rifle barrel with a cantilever on a rifle barrel, so I can put a scope on this, and I can shoot deer from 100, 150 yards away if I need to. But in Southern Illinois, you're really not shooting deer anything further than 75 yards. Most states you can hunt deer with a rifle, which I'll show you here in a minute. But in a state like Illinois, you have to shoot with a shotgun. So you're shooting these Sabot slug cartridges out of this rifled barrel, and it shoots pretty accurate, not as accurate as a rifle. Basically, this kind of a barrel makes this gun pretty much a rifle. Now, this gun came with 2 barrels. So right here, this is my deer hunting shotgun, and after deer season, I take this barrel off, and I change this barrel out to a field barrel. This is a bird small game barrel that came with this gun. Now, here's the deal. This gun cost $387, and I got it at a Sports Authority or Academy Sports in Missouri, and it gives me options. I take this off, and I can shoot for rabbit. I can shoot for any kind of waterfowl. I can do any kind of small game, squirrels, whatever I want to shoot with that bird. And then I actually shot my turkey with this gun as well. So when you buy this gun, a Mossberg 500 with the 2 barrels, what also comes with this gun is several different chokes. They give you 4 or 5 different chokes, and a choke is what you put at the end of a field barrel, a regular shotgun barrel, to be able to target in your spread from your shotgun shell for whatever game that you're going to be hunting for. So right now I have a turkey. See that? I have a turkey choke in that right now because I shot a turkey out of this. And it's actually turkey season right now. I'm not turkey hunting this year because of several factors, but primarily because my daughter's really young and mornings are difficult when I'm gone. And with turkey hunting, you got to be gone a lot. So more turkey hunting will be in my future, but not this year. So this gun right here, I can do my deer hunting and all of my small game hunting for $387. With tax, you're looking at $400. That's reasonable, right? You can look around your house, your garage, a couple sheds, and if you don't have the money to go out and outright buy it, then just sell some stuff and you can go buy this gun. And you can kill most things in America with this right here, just this shotgun. That's all you need. When people are like, "Oh, it's a high barrier of entry." Really, is $400 that? A young kid going out mowing some yards in the summertime can do that. Anybody can do that. And you can put a cheap scope on it. You don't have to get high-end optics, especially when you're only shooting 100 yards or less. That's a Simmons scope that I got for Christmas from somebody in my family for I think it was $40, $35. Works just fine. Works great. Okay, so there's the shotgun. Okay, now what about big game? If you're talking about, and this is what I shot my black bear with, bear, elk, moose. Okay, now there's some people are going to say if you're going to be out moose hunting, especially out west, you need a long-range rifle, something a little bit bigger than a .308, but a .308 will take a moose down as well. This is what I bought. I sold stuff from around my house, and this was a ready-to-hunt gun. It was a gun that I want to make sure it's bolt action right here, and I want to make sure it's not loaded. This gun I bought also from Sports Academy, or Academy Sports. I keep getting that confused, in Missouri. And this is a great Remington 308, and it's a big gun. I took down my, and it came with a scope on it. I took down that black bear from about 80 yards away, no problem whatsoever. I had some, I think it was like 180 grain or 170 grain wild boar ammo, I think I had, or something like that. And it had no problem whatsoever taking this bear down. And I love this gun. It's like shooting a cannon. This is a gun that you can just, I mean, you can take out west if you wanted to, and it's got a scope on it that came with the gun. And some people I saw online as I was reading reviews, and this is a synthetic stock, obviously, but as I was reading reviews, some people said, well, get that scope off of there and put a better scope. But again, for me, it worked out perfect, and it's a better scope than the scope I put on my shotgun, so it works out really well. Now, with these two guns, there it is. That, I think, was like $320 or $49. You're at about $800, all right? You can do that. That's not a high barrier of entry. So now you've got your hunter safety course, and you've got your guns. Now you got to figure out what's next. Well, what's next is you got to find public or private property to be able to hunt on. Public is everywhere in every state. In our area, we've got thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of acres. My buddy Drew is hunting. You guys have heard me talk about Drew several times now. Drew hunts a property of like 18,000 acres that's about 30 minutes from us. It's public. You can have access to it. You can go turkey hunting. You can go deer hunting. You can go squirrel, rabbit, whatever you want to do. You can do that there. And it's free. I mean, it's free land. I mean, we pay for it, obviously, with our taxes, but it's access to anybody. And so if you're going to go deer hunting in any state, what you need to do after finding where you're going to hunt, public or private, after you secured the location or identified your location, do some research. You guys figured it out. You're smart folks. You got to get tags for whatever animal you're going to be hunting. So in Illinois, you can get a buck and deer tag, a buck and doe tag for $27, and that's good for 2 deer and $27. And then you want to find out where you want to get it processed, because after you shoot it, after you field dress it, and after you skin it, if you're going to do the skinning, you need to find out who's going to process it. I've processed my own deer. Now I'm at the kind of stage of life where I just want to go and get somebody else to process my deer for me. But you may want to do that. It is a lot of fun doing that process, but it is some hard work. And then you go and find out where you want to process it. These are things you need to get in line, that you need to know. When you pull that trigger, the hard work starts. You go out, you field dress it, you put it in your truck, and you bring it to wherever's going to process it, or you bring it to your garage at home, and you get some gloves on and you get to work. Boning that meat out. That's all stuff you need to know beforehand. Small game typically doesn't require anything but a license, a hunting license that you can get that'll be good for the year for most states. And you can go out from August generally to January, and you can squirrel hunt. That's a great place to start squirrel hunting or rabbit hunting in later in the year. I think usually rabbit hunting starts in November, I think. And goes through January, maybe earlier than that. It may actually be in October. But squirrel and rabbit, those are, that small game you can get into and have a lot of fun with. If you want to get some tags or stamps for duck, teal, that kind of thing, you can do that as well. Geese, there's a lot of geese hunting in the Midwest, really all throughout. And you can do that. As far as gear, beyond that, if you want camo, that's fine. Here's the deal. Your grandparents, your great-grandparents, because our grandparents were all basically hunting with so few game in their area and regions that it was hard to actually find deer. I mean, in Illinois, deer had to be reintroduced because they were extinct. But they were extinct in this area, in this region, because hunters wearing jackets like this, like old-school Woolrich buffalo check, were out in their blue jeans smoking cigars and cigarettes hunting. You don't have to have decked-out Nordic ammo that's crazy expensive. You can get cheap stuff at a thrift store, at a pantry or whatever, and you can get great gear for cheap to next to nothing. And even at the end of the year sells at like Walmart. I know we all hate Walmart, but you can get some cheap gear there. You can find your gear for as little or as much as you want to spend. Now, if you want to have some more fun, get into bow hunting. And all you need to get, I got the cheap budget bow from the internet. I'm going to be selling this year, and with money I make from cutting trees down, I'm going to be buying a ready-to-hunt bow from either Bear or Matthews. This is just an entry level, and I shot my first deer with this, killed my first deer with a bow. This is about, in the 60s pound draw, and you need to get a release. I didn't have that, but once you get your release, you can get that and practice with a bow, and then that opens up for you, instead of season 1, season 2, muzzleloader season or whatever with your deer, wherever you're at, you can actually hunt from October through January in Illinois, and in most states you can hunt for months at a time for deer with your bow. You can even go turkey hunting with your bow. A bow is a lot of fun. In fact, I love bow hunting. That's what I'm going to be doing the most of for the rest of my life, is bow hunting, and that's why I'm going to get a better bow. I wanted to get some cheap gear to begin with to figure out if I'm going to be into this or not. And so far, it's been great. Now, let's wrap this up at the end with something I probably should have said at the beginning. I didn't get into deer hunting, I think I did mention this, until I was 35. I didn't get into anything hunting until I was 35. And I had an older gentleman in our church that just said, hey, man, I want you to come out. He has some property and take your hunter safety course. I want you to come deer hunt. And I thought, all right, I'll give it a shot. Why not? And I went out. I used his gun. He said, use my gun. And first day, sitting in the stand. And about 45 minutes after sunlight, here comes a buck. It's on my wall. When you're seeing my videos in my office, that's the buck that's in my wall. He's only like a 2.5-year-old, something. It was this little 7-pointer. But walked about 70 yards away. I went and took the scope covers off my scope, and it dropped and pinged on every single piece of that stand all the way down and spooked that deer. That deer's head popped up, and I just stood there motionless, and then he turned around, and I was behind my burlap around my enclosed stand, and was able to pull the trigger, and 70 yards out, got him, dropped him right there. I'm telling you, it is to be able to provide, but also to be in nature, and to also actually love these animals that God has created. And that's one of the things I didn't know about hunters before I started hunting, is that hunters love animals. They love animals. They care about the ecosystem. They care about conservation of these animals in a healthy way and not a weird, lefty, liberal, crazy way. But they actually care about the species, and they care about the ethics behind a kill. They care about ethical kills. And I tell you, the only thing I regret about hunting is that I didn't discover it sooner. Because like I said, it felt like I got into hunting and was thinking, where's this been my whole life? And then this is going to be something that I can do for my generations. My sons are a part of it already. Ransom and Valor. Ransom's going to be sitting in a stand with me this year. He sat in a stand with me last year. They're already a part of this, and it's going to be a culture in our home. They may not love it as much as I do, but they're going to learn some valuable skills about life and death, the death of an animal, and being able to see the process of killing an animal in the woods ethically, cutting it up, and getting it inside, and the process of getting it to the plate. And that is invaluable in our generations. And I'm almost 40. My kids are 7, 4, 1. And they're going to learn some things that not many people are out there learning. And so I want to encourage you to get out there and start hunting. Figure out the process, and you can get into all this for under $1,000. If you're savvy, if you sell some stuff, this is like I said, you can do this. Anybody can do this. A teenager mowing yards in the summertime can get into hunting. You don't have to go on a big elk hunting trip. Even my bear hunting trip, I got into that for less than $500. I had a friend that said, come on up, and I was very fortunate with that. I probably won't do that. I mean, I would love to do that again at some point, but it's going to be when my kids are older, because I'm going to take them back up there for rites of passage kind of stuff. My sons, hopefully, are going to, after we get through our provision rite of passage about what it means to be a man, I'm going to set up some sort of bear or elk hunt, something like that, and we're going to do that. And that will be more expensive, but you can provide for your family. You can fill your freezer for not a lot of money if you're willing to do it, willing to learn. And I hope this is a part of that process for you. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Like I said, please, maybe I didn't say it, but please subscribe, share this, and I would love for you to pass the word about this channel and podcast. Thanks so much for being here. It's, I think I've said it on almost every video, but I'm having a blast with this. And I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Get out there and start hunting, and I'll be doing a get into fishing video here probably next week as well. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.